original limited edition Harvest Caramels. Discover the original fall flavor.
Cleaning with a mop and bucket is such a hassle. Ugh. Switch to Swiffer WetJet. It's hassle-free. WetJet is one simple tool that absorbs dirt and grime deep inside. And it helps prevent streaks and haze. WetJet with a money-back guarantee.
The Queen once famously said that grief is the price we pay for love. And over the last 10 days, we have seen how beloved.
Happening now.
It's been 3.5 years and two families asking for answers into the death of their two daughters and also making accusations against the Bexar County Sheriff.
Because we don't know what's true and what's not.
What the sheriff has to say about this, that's coming up.
And another development on busing migrants from the border. How LULAC is now taking part. Next.
And a very summer-like weather pattern is taking shape. I'll be back in a bit to tell you how hot it's going to get, along with the latest on Hurricane Fiona. The News at 5 starts right now.
And we begin with breaking news. Maintenance crews making a gruesome discovery today. They found a body in a ditch near Judson and Tupperwine.
This is in the city of Live Oak. Police say that maintenance crews at the Northeast Methodist Pavilion were working in the area when they found the body of a woman. They called 911. Officers have not released an identity yet, and it is unclear how this woman died. We're going to continue to update you as more details become available.
And now to a new push in a death investigation. Two families want that investigation moved from the Bexar County Sheriff to the state of Texas.
That case involves the death of two daughters and their mother in the affluent subdivision of Anaqua Springs, south of Boerne. This investigation began in January of 2019, days after the medical examiner ruled the case a double murder-suicide. But the sheriff's office said further investigation was needed. Then
in 2021, the sheriff announced the case was being reassigned to the cold case unit and deemed the investigation incomplete. As Erica Hernandez reports, family members want the state to step in now.
Because he's inflicted more pain on this family than anyone else other than whoever it was who killed their daughters.
The lawyers for the Bribiescas and Montes families are saying enough and wanting answers, something they say Sheriff Javier Salazar promised them years ago after a further investigation was called for the 2019 deaths of 10-year-old London Bribiescas, 16-year-old Alexa Montes, and their mother, Nicole Olsen. The three were found dead in their Anaqua Springs home. The medical examiner ruled the case a murder-suicide, but the sheriff directed investigators to further look into the case. But London's aunt, Emma Sumners, says they haven't heard anything from the sheriff since 2020.
I don't think we've ever been able to just call him up and talk to him. It's always been we've had to go through the media and create up a storm in order to get his attention.
Sumner wrote a letter to Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton asking the Texas Rangers to investigate this case and also Sheriff Javier Salazar's handling of it.
And I think that it would be very honorable of him to step up and say, hey, yes, we screwed up, but I just don't think he's the kind of person to do that. I think he's just going to try to keep everything covered up and try to keep making himself look good.
The sheriff declined an interview today, but in a statement said, quote, "We have not seen the letter submitted by the Bribiescas family to the Attorney General's office. This case remains ongoing with the Bexar County Sheriff's Office. Additionally, there are pending items the investigator assigned to this case had difficulty obtaining through attempts with the retained attorney, including difficulty making contact with Mr. Holscher."
No specific items were requested from us.
So we did follow up with the sheriff's office about Mr. Holscher's remarks, as well as other accusations, and we have not heard back from them. We also made a second request for toxicology and autopsy results for the mother, Nicole Olsen, since they were denied to us years ago because the investigation was still pending. Erica Hernandez, KSAT 12 News.
New at 5, a man rushed to the hospital with a gunshot wound to the chest. San Antonio police say he was shot at a home behind a meat market. Officers say that victim then ran to this store on Flores Street for help. It's just north of downtown near Flores and Poplar Streets. Witnesses told police they saw the suspect run away with a gun in his hand. The victim was taken to the hospital in critical condition. Investigators still don't know what led up to the shooting. This is on top of the multiple shootings in the San Antonio area this weekend. You see them marked on the map here for you. They include an 8-year-old boy who was playing video games in his home. when he was hit with what was apparently a stray bullet. That child taken to the hospital. We've just learned 2 victims shot on Noblewood Drive yesterday have died. These 7 shootings over the weekend also include a case where a San Antonio police officer shot and killed a man yesterday. That shooting happened near Zarzamora and Martin Street. Police say the man threatened to shoot officers. That's when officers fired at the man. His name has not been publicly released, nor has whether he actually had a gun on him.
There are new developments along the border. The League of United Latin American Citizens, known as LULAC, now responding to the busing and flying of migrants to other states by starting their own transportation operation. Over the weekend, LULAC's president visited Eagle Pass to pick up people legally seeking asylum and take them to other cities. Domingo Garcia says the organization is taking them to San Antonio, Austin, or Dallas. That depends on where those asylum seekers want to go. Garcia says migrants are also being warned after others promise some migrant jobs and expedited paperwork. Now, migrants say similar promises were made to them to get them to board a flight to Boston last week, but they instead were taken to Martha's Vineyard. Migrants have also been sent to other areas of the country like Chicago, Washington, D.C., and New York, where leaders have said they are overwhelmed. ABC's Morgan Norwood is tracking this story for us at 5.
The immigration showdown reaching a tipping point as Texas Governor Greg Abbott and other Republican leaders send migrant buses and flights to Democratic-led sanctuary cities, continuing to stir a political fight. New York Mayor Eric Adams on This Week, sounding the alarm after several migrant buses arrived over the weekend. Adams asking for coordination with the federal government and Governors Greg Abbott and Ron DeSantis. All of this as he says an asylum seeker died by suicide in a New York City shelter on Sunday.
This is an American crisis that we need to face.
Governor Greg Abbott's office says that he has sent nearly 11,000 migrants from Texas to Chicago, New York, and Washington. Mayor Muriel Bowser warning cities across the country to get prepared.
This is a national issue, and the nation's mayors need to be prepared.
Meanwhile, Governor Baker of Massachusetts says reform is the best remedy. His outcry comes as Florida Governor Ron DeSantis takes credit for the surprise migrant drop-offs on Martha's Vineyard.
I've been urging Republicans and Democrats in Washington to get together and to pass meaningful immigration reform. It's not a secret to anyone that our immigration system is broken.
And it's evident on the ground in Texas. El Paso's mayor claiming the surge at the border resulted in nearly 2,000 new migrants and asylum seekers per day, most from Venezuela. El Paso swelling beyond its limits, the mayor saying the city has no choice but to bus migrants elsewhere. But at least they're trying to communicate with leaders in those destinations. I'm Morgan Norwood, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Our coverage continues online at KSAT.com. There, you will find a new statement from Archbishop Gustavo Garcia Sierra responding to the tactics being used to take migrants away from Texas. Again, you can read the entire statement on KSAT.com.
Now to the evolution of the east side of San Antonio. Results of a listening tour in that community are now coming to light. San Antonio for Growth on the East Side, or SAGE, says they've uncovered several issues the community wants fixed. We've seen more new homes or renovated homes pop up in the area, but months of surveys and focus groups show residents want more affordable housing, better infrastructure, more amenities. State Representative Barbara Gervin Hawkins represents much of the East Side. She says the needs differ among the different residents, businesses, and nonprofits who call the East Side community home.
But my question to this group, and my hope and my prayer, is that we indeed can bring the communities together so that all boats rise, not just a few.
We're not done looking into the story. What have neighbors seen change here? Coming up at 6, we're going to hear from residents who have lived there for years and what they have to say about the community in transition. Crews are making progress on a water problem in Lytle. The city says they had to replace 2 large valves and fix a damaged water line. Crews finished that work this morning, but the community of Lytle will need to continue to boil their water before using it. The city says they're trying to build up pressure in the system. That boil notice will stay in effect until sometime tomorrow.
Now to the final farewell for Queen Elizabeth II. President Joe Biden and First Lady Jill Biden were at today's funeral in London, along with hundreds of dignitaries and heads of state from around the world. That procession began this morning at Westminster Hall. It made its way to the Abbey. The Queen's coffin, draped with her flag and adorned with a wreath of flowers, the imperial crown, her scepter, and orb. The Queen's great-grandchildren joined in the procession inside the church. It's estimated that about 1 million well-wishers crowded central London streets just to get a glimpse of this rare and solemn event.
That was the lump in the throat moment, I think, when the coffin came by and so slowly, and the family behind.
Britain's longest reigning monarch now laid to rest next to her late husband, Prince Philip, at St. George's Chapel.
Most of us just experiencing a lot of sunshine this afternoon, but you look at the radar and you look very closely. A few little showers have popped up closer to the Gulf coastline, and even as close as Gonzales County, a few highly isolated showers. Even southeastern Lavaca County had a few pop up. You see near Harwood and just due northwest of Gonzales, a couple of very brief, highly isolated showers. They're not going to last much longer, and by and large, it's going to be a clear and, well, above average evening out there. 91 right now in Del Rio, 94 in Santa Maria, 90 in Lakey, but 93 in Bulverde. Windcrest checking in at 94 degrees. Mostly clear. You'll notice the humidity and a light southeasterly breeze this evening. By midnight, we're down to 80 degrees, but a summer-like weather pattern is setting up. We'll talk about what that means for our temperatures and how close they'll get to records in just a bit.
Thank you, Adam. Let's go to 35 north at Loop 410, where you can see there's a little bit of a backup here as we take a look at the intersection. There's 35 and Loop 410 come together. A little bit of a backup, but no major traffic tie-ups to tell you about at this hour. Still ahead on KSAT's News at 5. It's a celebration 100 years in the making, and this local veteran has a special birthday wish for the occasion. How Military City, USA, how all of us can make sure that wish comes true, coming up.
It's been called the new Google for Gen Z's generation, but TikTok users may be sharing information without them even knowing it. What you need to consider about privacy and how to keep it protected, next on the News at 5.
I'm Myra Arthur, and here's what we're working on for you today at 6. A backlog in sexual assault cases in Bexar County. A new investment could help make progress on the number of cases. Today at 6, we'll show you how the Bexar County Crime Lab is putting some new money to work. And a list of safety protocols developed to lower the number of fallen firefighters all around the world. An event with that goal in mind happening right here in San Antonio today. We speak to the father of a fallen firefighter about what the focus should be. Plus,
you will see more and more 5G nodes over the next few years because that is going to become the standard.
it may be becoming the standard, but what is 5G? In a new KSAT Explains, we're spelling out what makes 5G different, how it works, and we're reaching out to experts right here in San Antonio at UT Health. They explain why there are problems with the research done so far on the health impact of 5G. KSAT Explains today on the news at 6. We'll see you then.
Thank you, Myra. It is one of the hottest apps on millions of phones, TikTok. But what personal information are you or maybe your kids sharing with TikTok and not even know it? 12 on your side's Marilyn Moore shows us which settings you need to adjust to protect your privacy.
TikTok. It's free to watch the videos, but there is a trade-off, your information. So if you want to protect your privacy, open the settings and start with who can see your profile.
So setting your whole TikTok account to private is a great way to get a little bit more control over who can see the stuff on your profile.
TikTok makes its money through advertising, just like Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
Something that's really valuable for tech companies is building out a huge network of everyone that you know, your friends, your family, your coworkers, and they present it as a way for you to find your acquaintances on TikTok, which can be great, but it also gives the tech companies a lot of information about you, and you might not want to do that.
To deny the app access to your contacts or Facebook friends, toggle those settings off. You can also tell TikTok not to suggest your account to others. That's if you're not interested in having followers. TikTok uses more than just information about your friends and family for targeted ads.
So you might not realize it, but TikTok has code spread all over the internet on websites and apps to collect data about things you do when you're not on TikTok.
You can't stop that entirely, but you can use a setting to control whether TikTok can use that data for targeted ads. These tools help, but you can never expect total privacy when using social media.
Of course, you want to keep the hackers out of your TikTok account, so one of the best things you can do is set up multi-factor authentication. Marilyn Moritz, KSAT 12 News.
And now to a local veteran you may have seen on your social media today. The Texas Veterans Land Board shared this picture on their Facebook page in hopes of making a birthday wish come true. This is U.S. Army Air Force veteran Antonio Carrizales. He's going to turn 100 years old on Sunday. He's hoping to get 100 birthday cards for his centennial celebration. So take a picture of your screen. You can send cards to this address. It's at the Frank M. Tejeda Texas State Veterans Home on 200 Veterans Drive in Floresville, Texas. You can address it to Antonio Carrizales, and of course, we'll have this information on our website as well.
Happy birthday, Antonio.
Yeah, early birthday.
Early birthday. And we got Sky 12 over downtown, the torch of friendship. We got kind of zigging around.
Shaky.
Yeah, that's the camera. It's not the torch moving like that.
We're not having an earthquake.
Yeah.
A little bit of turbulence up there, maybe, right? So really very sunny out there today. I showed you earlier just a couple of showers far east of San Antonio. They'll be coming to an end very shortly. But overall, a very summer-like weather pattern is taking shape. It's what we would typically see in August, that kind of weather pattern. And near record high temperatures are on the way. And of course, the latest on Hurricane Fiona as it veers northward into the Atlantic. Let's get a look at our high temperature forecast. So look at this. Tomorrow, mid-90s again. Wednesday, 97. Thursday, the autumnal equinox, ironically, the hottest day of the week, up to 99. Those readings, the middle part of the week, are just a degree or two shy of records for this time of year. So let's talk about the overall weather pattern. A few of those typical coastal showers. We may see a few of them again tomorrow, but not by Wednesday. There's a look at Hurricane Fiona. That's off to the east of us, and that's moving north of the Dominican Republic. And overall, we've got an upper level high pressure system that's sitting overhead. It's parked overhead. The big blue H, it's not going anywhere anytime soon. It is here all week long. Here it is for you. Upper level high right now, basically over Texarkana, but it's going to be drifting southwestward and it's going to be pressing down on us, basically parked right overhead most of this week, if not all this week, up until this upcoming weekend. And that's going to deflect all the rain up and around us and keep us high and dry and sunny. And as that heat high presses down on us, we'll have those high temperatures, upper 90s. Of course, triple digits, not out of the question. It could happen, but right now we're forecasting just a degree or two under 100. Very well-defined eye here with Hurricane Fiona. Max sustained winds of 100 miles per hour, gusting up to 120. That's pushing off to the northwest into the Atlantic here, likely to strengthen even more into a Cat 4 hurricane by the middle part of the week, and that would be sustained winds of around 130 miles per hour. But it looks like the Bahamas and especially Miami and Florida, the east coast of the U.S., no real concerns with this storm as it does continue its track to the north and then could brush up against Bermuda before heading off into eastern Canada and weakening at that point. So that's the latest on Fiona. Otherwise around here, look at this, 95. So far our high temperature today, 96. Dew point right now, 67. We're feeling the mugginess, but here's some good news. As those temperatures go up later this week, the afternoon humidity will be going down. We'll have very dry air in place and we'll get some mixing of that drier air aloft. It's going to mix downward. And so despite the highs in the upper 90s, we're talking dew points in the afternoons down in the 50s. So at least we won't have the extreme heat indices to talk about. You really won't even notice the humidity when it's even hotter later this week. Cotulla now, 95. New Braunfels at 98. Kerrville, meanwhile, 92 degrees, along with Rio Medina, Seguin at 95. Tomorrow we start the day mid-70s. By the afternoon, we're back into the mid-90s. A mixture of sun and clouds throughout the day. Helotes making it to about 93, Gonzales 97, and Floresville 95. Look at those records right around 100. We're just going to be a degree or two shy of them later this week. And then by this weekend, the upper level high breaks down a bit, and we could see a little temperature drop into next week.
Oh, we're going to need it by then. Thank you.
All right. when it comes to the Cowboys game, what a rush.
Yeah, Cooper Rush, right? Also Brett Maher, and I was kind of leaning like everybody else. Is that going to go in?
Yeah.
Yes, it did. When we come back, the Cowboys' last-second win that didn't look like it was going to happen, and Becky Hammond is now a championship coach coming up.
Pro football coverage, powered by Davis Law Firm.
The Dallas Cowboys are able to pull out a last-second victory over the Cincinnati Bengals, even without Dak Prescott as their starting quarterback, nursing a thumb fracture. Dak was replaced by Cooper Rush, who's now 2-0 as a starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys dating back to last year. The score tied at 17-all. Rush was able to lead the Cowboys to the game-winning field goal delivered by Brett Maher with no time on the clock. But it was the Dallas D also had a huge assist, sacking Joe Burrow, the Bengals 6 times, 2 from Micah Parsons, who now has 4 sacks this season for a total of 17 in his first 18 games, more than any other player in the NFL since 1982.
You know, I don't care what the offense put up. I told you, they could have 0, but we got to do our part. And, you know, I think we're doing a damn good job at doing that. We hold 2 of the most elite offenses to 1 touchdown last 2 games and making them earn every little bit of it. That's how you be relentless, and that's what we've been preaching, and every guy in this room is bought in.
All right, next up, a division showdown for the Dallas Cowboys on Monday Night Football when they travel to New York to face the Giants at 7:15. The Houston Texans are still looking for their first outright win of the season after tying the Colts on opening day and falling to the Broncos in Denver on Sunday 16-9 after not being able to get into the end zone. Quarterback Davis Mills was just 19 of 38 for 177 yards in that losing effort.
Our whole team feels that we're close. Our best football is ahead of us. We played a good football team out there, and I mean, we were with them the whole game. We just got to take advantage of those opportunities that are there. I thought defense and special teams played extremely well today. I mean, they held them 16 points on the road. That's big. As an offense, we got to continue to keep pushing the envelope, get better, and improve on it next week.
All right, next up, it's the Bears in Chicago Sunday at noon.
The Las Vegas Aces, your 2022 WNBA champions.
Congratulations to former Spurs assistant coach Becky Hammond, who was able to lead the Las Vegas Aces to their first ever WNBA championship after beating the Connecticut Sun in Game 4 of the WNBA Finals, 78-71. Becky leads her team to a title in her first ever season as their head coach.
You know, when I took the job in December, I thought when I started kind of breaking down their rosters that I could do something with it. I had a vision of what I wanted to do with this team. It's a little surreal. Maybe you can call me back in like a week when it sinks in.
Now you have to kind of wonder if there's a little bit more interest in the NBA coming up.
Adds to the resume, that's for sure.
Sure does. We'll see.
Sure proved herself quickly.
She did, yes, very quick.
We'll be right back.
You know, our average high in August is 96 degrees. We're going to be warmer than that most of this week. Wednesday, 97. Thursday, 99. We're talking record challenging heat. The record this time of year is typically right around 100. So within a degree or two of that, ironically, the fall equinox comes Thursday when we're going to be in the upper 90s. But there will be a break in the afternoon humidity, though.
Thank you, Adam. And thank you for watching the News at 5.
World News up next. See you back here at 6.